So hi everyone, I'm Kathy McGuinness. I'm from the Microsoft for Startups team APAC region. And we, of course, are here today to cover the social selling in 2022, the future of B2B client acquisition. And of course, as startup owners, founders, and team members, you will know that without clients and customers, there's not much that a business or a startup could do. So this is really crucial, imperative information and delivered from somebody who is really crisp and clear and experienced at doing that, which is Joanna Inch. I'm going to introduce Joanna in just a second, but before I do, can I just make sure throughout the session, if everybody can keep their microphone and camera off, just so that we can focus on the content. And in terms of questions and any comments that you'd like to make, please do use the chat function anytime. Myself and the Microsoft for Startups team will be moderating and watching that, so they won't be missed. And then if there's anything that you've missed at the end, there will be a Q&A session then also. And of course, if there's anything still that you've missed, Jo will have her details throughout the session and you can get in touch with us too. So loads of opportunities there to make sure that there's nothing that doesn't get answered today. And if you're coming to us from outside of the Microsoft for Startups program and you're interested in what the benefits are, please do get in touch with me and I can just take you through the different kinds of benefits in the offer, which is a whole suite of Microsoft licenses, GitHub Enterprise, Power BI, Visual Studio Code, up to 150,000 US dollars in Azure credits, and then a couple of peripherals like a mentor network, technical advisory, and a lot more. So lots to talk about there if you're not yet in the program. I'll drop my email address into the chat and you can get in touch with me directly. But for the main event, social selling in 2022 more than ever has become a powerful customer acquisition tool, especially when combined with an account-based marketing strategy. In the world of B2B, people are no longer loyal to brands and hence establishing a human connection and relationship is imperative. So in this session, Joanna's going to teach you firstly how to identify your ideal clients and then how to connect and build a long-term relationship with them using the power of LinkedIn social selling and account-based marketing. Jo is committed to the B2B SaaS and tech space and has dedicated over 15 years to implementing digital growth strategies that include lead and demand gen, marketing automation, account-based marketing, and social selling. So constellating all of that together, this is what Jo is going to bring today. She enjoys producing and hosting regular content and is an Amazon bestseller in the marketing and entrepreneur categories of Go to Market, a book dedicated to B2B startups. I'd love to say that she'll be signing the book after this, but it's not much used in the online sphere. So we'll have to shoot for that in another in-person event in the region soon so we can get those sorts of things happening. But watch this space because there are one or more giveaways throughout the session. Jo's first session with us was, I think, nearly 2 years ago, and it was in person at our Sydney reactor, and it was met with rave reviews. So the startups really valued the distinct and simple format that Jo delivered the critical material, and as well as her clear-cut style, it did so well. So you're in for a treat today. You've probably seen a lot of SEO, marketing, and such sessions out there, but it's a bit of a jungle to land on one that actually hits the spot that you need it to so clearly. So I'm going to hand over to Jo so you can see what I'm talking about. Thanks so much, Jo.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much for the kind words, and hello, everybody. And if you do, for whatever reason, find yourself in Sydney, Australia in February or March, I'd be happy to sign a copy for you. But in the meantime, and I'll get to this slide in a minute, I'm happy to give you a digital copy as well. I wanted to touch on social selling in 2022. I actually see this as the main thing that's going to get you clients in the world of B2B. It's definitely been a game changer throughout the years that we've had the pandemic. Working with a few clients on campaigns around marketing automation, demand generation, account-based marketing, we actually found that social selling to be one of the most effective ones. And even for me personally, I find this is probably the main way that I get my clients as well. So I wanted to share this with you. because I do think, you know, as a startup, this is probably the easiest and most effective thing you can do, as well as the most affordable, because it doesn't involve huge media and ad spends. It's really all about building relationships. Quick agenda for this webinar. So I'll do a quick introduction. And then I wanted to touch on social selling. It's been around for a while, but I wanted to show you the difference in how to do it in 2022. So I'm going to touch on what it is, why do it, some of the benefits, how to do it, which is the big one. And then I'll show you some examples as well. And then one of the main things as well, obviously when you're doing social selling, you want to identify the right target audience, or I call them ideal clients. So I'm going to teach you how to do that as well, because in my personal mindset and experience, I don't think it's a numbers game. I don't think it's, you know, quantity over quality. I actually think, you know, if you identify the right clients and accounts and people that you'd want to work with straight up, and focus all of your time, energy, efforts, budgets on those, that's really what's going to drive steady growth for your business over the years. And then I wanted to touch on why social selling accelerates account-based marketing. I'm not sure if you know much about account-based marketing, or maybe you've heard of it. If you're already doing it, definitely you would want to be accompanying it with a social selling campaign as well. So I will touch a little bit on what it is and why they work so well together. Just a quick one about me. I'm located in Sydney, Australia. Have been for, I think, more than 20 years now. Previously, I've lived in Bulgaria, even Iraq and Italy as well. So I've lived in a few countries before coming here. So, you know, definitely love traveling. I'm founder of Hat Media, which is a digital marketing agency, and we work exclusively with B2B SaaS and tech startups and scale-ups. One of our clients that we help is tech giant Lenovo. I know we work with startups and scale-ups, and you know they're far from that, but this was before we decided to pivot and work with startups. We actually work with some of the tech giants. So we got to see how applying campaigns like social selling, you know, at scale with big budgets could work incredibly well. And since then, we've been lucky and fortunate enough to work with a lot of clients and apply them to the startups and scale-up communities, and they're just as effective. So with Lenovo specifically, we saw them achieve 66 US million in 12 months, mainly through social selling. The agency was also, for that specific campaign, awarded or nominated for Best Content Marketing by Umbrella Asia. So what we did there, I'll definitely share those secrets with you over the next few slides. I'm also, as Kathy mentioned, a best-selling author of my book specifically written for startups. It's called Go to Market. It got #1 on Amazon for categories in web marketing and entrepreneurship. And I also host regular webinars and events for Microsoft for startups, and hope to do so here as well. So definitely, if you like what you hear today and you want more content around marketing automation, account-based marketing, or demand generation, I'm happy to host more of these. And just something personal about me, I always feel like it's nice to kind of add something personal. Personally, I'm a geek at heart. I love video games and VR. I'm actually in the process of creating my own B2B SaaS. It's very early stage. And it's all around marketing. And also I'm a mum of 2 little ones, 3 and 7, that you see there on the side. So I'm definitely passionate about building a better and kinder world for them. If you do want a copy of the book, you can, if you like physical copies, you can get it on Amazon. Just search for Go to Market. Or if you're happy to read a digital copy, simply find me on LinkedIn, connect with me, and just send me your email address, and I'm happy to email you a digital copy of the book. It really just looks at building your foundations as a startup, and then how do you go to market. Okay, so social selling in 2022, which I think is the future of B2B client acquisition. I just want to describe it. I'm sure you've heard of it, or, if not, Googled it before this webinar, but in its most basic form, I just want to tell you what it is. It's basically the process of developing relationships as part of your sales process. So it's not the process of selling, it's really the process of developing relationships, because that's what leads to a sale. And the reason why it's called social selling is because you do it mainly through a platform such as LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook. Now, I mainly see it on LinkedIn. However, I have also seen it on Twitter or Facebook. But LinkedIn's definitely the biggest one. That's where it's at. It's also the process where, as a startup, you might not have sales and marketing teams just yet. You might be doing everything yourselves, but so it's not just necessarily for those teams, but even for the founders. It's also a platform that helps you leverage and share valuable content consistently. That's one part of social selling. That's something you need to do. And also find and engage with potential customers in a meaningful way. So not with the intent to sell, but the intent to connect with them, build a relationship, and help them solve a problem. I want to touch on what it's not as well. I feel like this helps quite a bit. I've kind of told you the basic meaning of it, but what it's not is it's not about bombarding strangers with unsolicited messages. That's actually spam, and I highly recommend you stay away from that method. I'm sure you've come across, on a platform like LinkedIn, a lot of people connecting with you and sending you straight away a sales message. So they don't work. They absolutely don't work. So I highly recommend you don't do it. And if you're wondering what I mean by those messages, I do actually have an example to show you, which is one right here. I've just blocked out all of the identifiers for privacy reasons, but I just want to show you something that I get probably on a daily basis that I completely ignore. I don't connect with these people, and I highly recommend you stay away from this type of strategy because it doesn't work. Firstly, I've not connected with this person, so they haven't bothered to connect with me before, trying to sell me something, which once again, big no. I think it's important to connect with a person first. Secondly, they've spelt my name wrong, 2 N's instead of 1. So I think that's already, raises flags with me. Again, they haven't bothered to get to know me or even research me or even research, the way to spell my first name. And then if you go through the copy, you kind of see that it's all about them. It's not customer centric. It's not customer focused. They're not trying to solve a pain point. They're just trying to tell you everything they can about them in this one little message. So for example, my name is, we have, we are, we work, everything is me, we, which I don't think is effective when you're trying to build a relationship. I think at the very beginning, you need to get to know the person that you want to work with. So just an example of social selling done badly. Just before I tell you and give you some tips on how to do it that's effective, I just wanted to touch on some of the benefits and really give you a reason why we're covering this today. I think the goal for me today is I want everyone to learn about a new marketing mindset for tomorrow's buyers. That's my goal today. I want, to arm you guys with new strategies and effective ways to pursue clients and customers in today's world. Aside from the pandemic, obviously, which has brought huge amount of change, our world is also very much disrupted by explosion of new technologies, social expectations, cultural shifts. There's so much going on, so many changes. And I think one thing that, in marketing that has remained quite effective, it's really just the way that people do it, has had to change, is social selling. I'll show you some of the benefits that we have seen from social selling. Just before I do, just another quick note on it. Obviously, with the pandemic, networking and relationship building has changed. People are no longer meeting face to face. Here in Australia, we actually went through a large period of no lockdowns and also no cases, which meant people could meet face to face, and yet we still chose to do everything through Zoom and digital, just because we suddenly saw a shortcut. For example, why would I drive 1 hour to see this client when I can quickly do a Zoom call with them? It has exactly the same effect. So I think the way you network and build relationships has definitely changed. It's all on social now, so all the more reason to get to know about social selling and do it the right way as well. And just a quick statistic by Forbes themselves. So 87% of business event professionals have cancelled events because of the pandemic, and 66% have postponed. I do hope this changes in the near future, because I definitely miss, in-person events. But just kind of giving you the stats of what it's been like. And I think this year might be better, but it's still, I think online, social, and digital is where it's at. So what do we know about the benefits of social selling? 90% of top performing sales professionals use social selling. So if that's not a reason enough to adopt it, I'm not sure what is. It's definitely trust in the process. It does work. And LinkedIn Sales Solutions internal data. So LinkedIn themselves does quite a few surveys, and they've shared these statistics with us today. So businesses that are leaders in the social selling space, they create 45% more sales opportunities than brands that, they have a low social selling index, as an example. Also, businesses that prioritize social selling are 51% more likely to reach their sales quotas. And of course, the last one there, 78% of businesses that use social selling, they outsell the other businesses and their competitors that are not really focused on social media. So 3 or 4 very good reasons why you'd want to adopt social selling as a marketing tactic this year. Just a little bit more about social selling. You may have already known this. Obviously, people do a lot of online research before they go and buy something, whether it be in store or online. You can bet that your customers have already done their research, and they're probably just coming to the store not to talk to a representative, but really just to buy what they've already know that they're going to buy. But this just adds some stats behind it. So you can see for 16 to 24-year-olds, 51 to 55%, they've already done all their research online. Even 25 to 54-year-olds, between 35 to 48% have already researched online. So they know what they're buying. So if you're not online, if you're not on social media, if you're not putting yourself out there in front of your customers or ideal clients, then you're missing out on a big chunk of clients here that your competitors are probably getting. And just some other stats. So 70% of YouTube users have bought a brand's product after seeing it on YouTube. So video content definitely works really well. Bite size, ideally. And then 96% of B2B content marketers use LinkedIn for organic marketing. Now, this is an important one. I want to emphasize on the word organic here, because LinkedIn is a platform that is very well at giving you organic reach and visibility. Unlike a platform such as Facebook, as an example, where you have to pay to promote content even to your own followers, LinkedIn not only shows all of your followers your content, but it actually expands that reach, by 3 in most cases. So LinkedIn organic is really good. So, if you keep posting on a regular basis, you're ensured that the people that you're connected with, as well as the people that they're connected with, see your content. So that kind of covers the benefits of social selling and why you should do it. As a startup as well, I know budgeting is obviously a big one, and social selling, although it does take up quite a bit of time, it doesn't really take up any money. You're not spending money on LinkedIn. You can actually do a lot of it organically. You're not spending money on ads. A lot of it is actually organic and just really good research and just, you know, spending the time getting to know your ideal clients and then putting content together specifically for them, which I'm about to get into now. So the how-to of social selling. First step, probably an obvious one, but you'd be surprised how many people don't take advantage of this. I mean, everybody knows that you need to have a good profile on LinkedIn, you know, such as a professional photo, you know, a nice little blurb about you and what you do, you know, and ideally you're writing about how you're solving a specific pain point for your niche or your target audience in that blurb. But you'd be surprised how many people still don't have a nice, I call it a power profile on their LinkedIn account. So just to give you another stat behind it, LinkedIn reports that 50% of customers avoid people with incomplete profiles. So if you don't have a photo, if you don't have a nice cover photo, if you're not connected to a particular company as well on LinkedIn, if you don't have, you know, a one sentence reason for why people would want to connect with you, and then you go ahead and start connecting with people that could be your clients, they'll likely say no. So it's really important that you focus on your profile, especially that top section right there. I'm just using these two as an example. Teletrack Navman is actually a client of mine, and we're currently working on a social selling campaign for them. So Anthony and Paul, Anthony based in Melbourne and Paul based in Perth in Australia, we're using their profiles to try and connect with customers and build a relationship. So you can see we've updated, this is what I call the prime real estate, which is the cover photo on LinkedIn. You can see that we've targeted it towards their target audience. So Paul, as an example, wants to focus on WA, fleet management, you know, visibility. So we've put a little bit of blurb there that would help them kind of explain to their target audience what they're doing, what their expertise lies in. And we did actually run a bit of an A/B experiment. We started connecting with their target audience before we did that and after we did that. And the connection rate or acceptance rate rose by over 20%. So I highly recommend you take some time, couple of hours. You can actually create a really nice and custom cover profile photo on a tool such as Canva, and really, you know, make yourself visible and make yourself shine. Be a power profiler. That's step one. Once you've done that, you then need to become a thought leader. I'll tell you a little bit of hacks on how to create content that is considered thought leadership content. But just before I do, I just want to share with you another benefit of why you should do this. So you can see there, over 62% of B2B buyers respond to salespeople that connect with relevant insights and opportunities. This was very much our experience working with Lenovo. One of the jobs or campaigns that we ran for them, we actually wrote 3 articles per week, all around, you know, data centers, artificial intelligence, machine learning. But instead of posting it out from the brand Lenovo, we actually created a brand agnostic website, and we created a profile for the salespeople, and we made them the authors of those articles. Now, they didn't necessarily have to write these articles. However, we positioned them as thought leaders of that particular topic. We have a little video on our website, which you can see, you know, of the case study. Basically, one of the salesperson got in touch with a client. The client said, I've learned everything I need to know about data centers of the future just from reading your posts. That then led to a meeting, which then led to one of the biggest sales they had that year. So thought leadership certainly works. It not only works at rewarding you business, another benefit it has that I haven't put in there, it actually gets you a bigger deal. So if your client doesn't know you as well, and they want to try working with you, they may just sign up for a pilot or the smallest kind of package or subscription that you have. However, if they do know you through thought leadership, they do actually sign up for, a bigger package. So not only does it get you more business, but it gets you bigger deals. So just in summary, what you want to do is, once you've become a power profiler and you've really spent time creating a nice little profile for yourself, and when you're creating this profile, do of course think about your ideal clients and how would they react to seeing this? What do they want to see? What would be beneficial to them? How are you making it customer centric to them specifically? You then want to start reaching out for an introduction on LinkedIn. You then want to take time to learn more about this person, and without the intention to sell. So don't just reach out to as many as possible. Keep it quite short. I actually recommend about 20 to 30 per month. And then whoever connects with you, get to know them. Have a look at their LinkedIn profile. What are they posting? More than likely, they've been posting something that will give you really good information about where their pain points lie and what are they struggling with. Or even just company insights that you can then use to go ahead and create content or go ahead and start a conversation with them that's highly personable, that then gets you, gets you a response and gets you started towards building that relationship. Do follow their content, like, comment, share, and also do alert them when you do create your own thought leadership content. If it is something relevant that you think they'd be interested in, feel free to alert them to it. I just want to use some content examples. This is once again for our client, Teletrack Navman. So with Paul, you can see one of his posts actually went what I would call viral on LinkedIn. He's only got less than 1,500 connections when we first started, but one of his posts received 3.3 times the reach. And it's really just about knowing, okay, what's trending in the industry? What's relevant? What does my target audience want to see? So this one definitely hit the mark. And then, of course, Anthony, we're very much focused on the transport industry with him. So posting, solutions to pain points around that helped Anthony get, a much bigger reach than what his connections actually were as well. And the beauty of LinkedIn is that, at the time of taking this photo, these were the numbers. However, they just keep on growing week by week. Just as an example of what I post personally that has worked really well for me, this is what I consider thought leadership content. So the book, of course, when it came out, I posted that. Also, if you happen to be featured on any podcasts or webinars as a guest, this is one that I got featured on by Nona Digital. This actually got me a client as well that we're currently working with. Then, of course, media articles. So if you're writing any articles and putting them up, in media, this one specifically went to the marketer. You can see that they're getting quite a bit of views. And one thing I'd love to mention as well is don't focus so much on likes or comments or shares. It's actually the views that matter, because every single client that I've had that has come to me through social selling, I should probably mention we don't really do that much advertising for ourselves specifically. 50% of our clients have come through referrals, and the other 50 have actually come through social selling and account-based marketing. And every time I've spoken to them, I have never seen them like or comment on any of my posts, but they always mention seeing one of my posts or multiple of my posts. So I don't think you need to be too concerned with the engagement. I actually think the views are more important. Just some more examples. So, obviously when I do webinars for Microsoft, I promote that too. That's thought leadership, around specific topics. One topic my clients specifically care about at the time, this was trending, was site speed as well. So just to give you an idea of the type of copy. So it's not necessarily, long form copy. You actually feel free to experiment with multiple different post, whether it be video, image, webinars, podcasts, even just, a little image that I created in Canva just to summarize a good article that I read about the 7 routines of highly successful people. 3 a week is usually good, but even 2 per week will do you really well on LinkedIn. It will get you noticed. And just a little bit of a hack when creating content. So now that you've created your profile and you're a power profiler, you've got everything you need on your profile, you've started connecting with your ideal clients. And I do have a slide coming up to show you how to find these ideal clients. But first, content creation hacks. So how do I create content, or how do I even research content for my target audience? One little tool I love to use is Answer the Public, where just go on there and just a keyword that your target audience needs, and also obviously relevant to what you provide, put that in. In my case, it was lead generation. A lot of my clients want to know, how do we get more leads, lead generation. I put that in, and Answer the Public spit out, the why, where, when, what, how of lead generation that people have searched for in the past possibly 6 to 12 months on Google. So this just gives me topics that I can then create content around. And I think it's really important that you do have the why, where, when, and what, rather than just the term lead generation on its own. Because when people search on Google, keep in mind, over 50% of searches are now done through voice and through a mobile. People will, go to Google, click on the little microphone button, and then say what they want to search for. They're not just going to say lead generation. They're going to say, how do I do lead generation, or what is lead generation? They talk to Google now as if they're asking a question to a friend or a colleague. So really important when you do content, do it in this style, the way people would search for it. Also, BuzzSumo, really awesome tool. I do believe they offer a 30-day free trial if you want to check them out. They give you some content suggestions around specific topics as well. So if you go on there and you type in, what industry you're interested in, and then the keywords of the kind of content you want to create, they will show you what's trending on social media at the moment. So you kind of get to see, okay, this is what people like around that topic, therefore this is what I can create as well. That's a really good tool to use as well. And I believe both of them, I think, there's some free subscriptions there that you can tap into. Another thing I love about BuzzSumo, and Google Alerts does this as well. Obviously, you've connected to your ideal clients. You're putting up content and you're creating content that they would want to see. It's related to them. You're sharing that with them. So you're building yourself up as a thought leader in their eyes. But also what you can do is you can create an alert around a brand or a company name. So whatever company they work for, as an example, you might get an alert if they've been in the news for whatever reason. Usually if you're targeting enterprise companies, that they're almost always in the news because they do PR quite a bit. So it really, what that then creates is you get the alert about this article, you read it, it gives you an opportunity to have a conversation with the person from that company around that article. And it could be something simple like just sending it to them and saying, hey, I saw your latest article about your company. Here's my thoughts on that. And it needs to be quite personable, and relevant to, what this person's role is, as an example. But it's just a really good way to start conversations. We did set this up for one client specifically, and we found that creating conversations that are really customized in this way and that are related to something that they're a part of generated so much more, such a higher response rate than just simply sending out a generic message to everybody. So once again, I'm going to emphasize quality over quantity. It's not a numbers game. You really just want to hone in on, say, 20 to 30 people in the first month and see how can I build a relationship with these guys, and just be really consistent, build that relationship, then it's more likely that they're going to become your clients. And in the world of B2B, you know, we only need a couple of clients per month, unlike the world of B2C. So I think it's really important that you do it that way. Social selling framework. So firstly, I just want to touch on how to identify and engage with your ideal clients. So we know what we need to do. We need to build up our profile. We need to create content for our specific ideal clients that we know they're going to engage with and they're going to love and they're going to get to know us better with. But how do we find our ideal clients? So quick framework, and this is actually a framework that I use for account-based marketing, but it also works for social selling. So target accounts, firstly, you want to select target accounts based on your ideal client profile. And I've actually got a list of questions that you can answer that will help you learn more about who those are. Then, of course, drive engagement. You do this by creating and personalizing content specifically to them. You can share this on social, however. Also, you can share it through email and web. Then, of course, it's all about measuring that data and, creating further content based on that data and starting conversations. So what do we need to look at when determining who is our ideal client profile? I actually like to start with the company that I'd like to work with. So for example, these are, B2B SaaS companies in the fintech industry that I would absolutely love to work with. Who do I need to connect with as part of that account specifically? And I'll look at the entire buying committee, because more than likely there's more than one person making a decision on this. So some of the questions you can ask to determine your ideal client profile is, what size company are you looking to attract? Do you work with small companies? Do you work with mid-sized companies? Or do you want to work with enterprises? Keeping in mind, of course, enterprises can take, up to 12 months to land a client like that, whereas small to mid-sized companies generally quicker. What do you know about the number of companies at that size in your industry? What I just told you was probably one thing that we know. So if we're targeting enterprise clients, we need to be targeting at least 5 or 6 decision makers from that account, not just one person. That could take a while, a little bit more nurturing, more social selling, more content creation, also types of content that will give you an insight into. What do you know about your competitors in this specific space? What are they doing? How are they doing social selling? You can more than likely go to their LinkedIn profile, the LinkedIn company page, and just, do a little bit of research and scope them out. Some more questions you can ask. These are my top 10. These are actually in the book. So, if you do miss them right now, and you do want to reach out for a free digital copy, I believe you can grab these from the book as well. So top questions to really identify your niche and your ideal client. Look at especially if you've already worked with clients and you have some of that history and data, you might ask yourself, which client have I absolutely loved to work with? How do I get more of those? So try and identify some similar traits from those specific clients, such as, what was the pain or problem they wanted to solve? What did they decide? Why did they decide to solve it? What triggered them? What was the solution they wanted, out of everything that I was offering? Not so much, there's a few questions there about them, but then also about you, like how much did I enjoy working on this? Who do I really want to work with? I actually think that's really important, because working with the wrong clients can burn a lot of energy, passion. You definitely don't want to feel burnt out after working with a client. You want to feel, inspired. So working with more of the right people will get you there and will actually help you scale quicker. Once you've identified, say, your top 20 accounts and you've started running your social selling campaigns, you're, say, 3 to 6 months down the track, you're seeing great results, you're thinking, all right, I'm ready to get some more clients. How do I find lookalikes or clients just like these ones? This is what I call the spider web effect, to find similar accounts. First thing you want to do is you can Google your the company name that you love to work with. In this instance, I actually Googled Lenovo, just as an example. What happens is Google actually spits out a little thing for you called people also search for. So if you look at here, people also search for Dell, Asus, Acer, HP. Now, of course, in the world of marketing, I wouldn't be able to work with these guys because it's a conflict of interest. However, you know, some B2B companies are able to work with multiple of those types of brands. So the next thing I did was I actually went to their LinkedIn page and I had a look at a little section. If you scroll down, you'll see it. People are also viewed. So Microsoft came up, and I can definitely work with Microsoft if I'm working with Lenovo because those two are partnered up. You know, it's not a conflict of interest. One is hardware, one is software. So it'll give you a really good idea of who else you could work with. And I know these are very well-known brands, but you know, a lot of the times when you do your research, you'll come across quite a few brands that you've never heard of before. You'd be quite surprised and amazed at some of the new companies you come up with that would actually make really good clients. And keep going until you've hit a number that makes sense for your business. So obviously at the start, you know, as a startup, you'd probably want to start with 20, but then as you get results, as you grow bigger, as you start to hire salespeople or marketing people, you might want to increase that list. So even, you know, there's some companies at the moment that we work with where we look at 100 accounts for them as well. Here's just one last thing that's a trick that you can access if you've got a Sales Navigator license on LinkedIn, and I highly recommend it if you're going to be running a social selling campaign because it lets you do a whole lot better research. Once you have the account, so you've gone through that spider web effect that I just took you through, you're wondering, okay, now what? So if you search for that account in the Sales Navigator list, if you see at the bottom here, it actually gives you decision makers. Now, Lenovo is quite a large company, so there's 3,000 decision makers, but if you're targeting mid-sized companies, you'll actually see, you know, maybe 6 or 7 or less than 10 decision makers. So these are the guys that you want to be connecting with through your social selling campaigns and tactics. So just if you were to click on that, it would give you those exact people, and it looks something like this. It then, you know, creates a list of, okay, who are they? Therefore, let me, you know, do some more research on them. How do I connect with them? You can even, if you do get a large number like 3,000, you can actually narrow it further by having a look at, okay, so out of all of these decision makers, who was mentioned in the news in the past 30 days, or even who posted on LinkedIn in the past 30 days, because now that makes it so much easier for my social selling strategy. I can now go and, you know, like and comment on their post just to get in front of them and get, you know, a conversation started with them. That's probably the best way to do it. You know, you like or comment on a post, then you connect with them. You know, you continue that kind of relationship where your intent is not yet to sell, it's really just to build a relationship. And then by organically posting thought leadership content and they get to see that, they will notice, okay, this is a person that I know now, they're an expert in, you know, in these types of content or services. Therefore, when I have the need, I will reach out to them. I can't tell you, this is how I've received most of my clients. They've all actually reached out to me on LinkedIn in the end. So the process definitely works. Okay, that's the how-to of social selling. I now just want to touch on, I know I mentioned account-based marketing a few times earlier. I kind of want to touch on why social selling accelerates your account-based marketing. If you're not doing account-based marketing, I'll give you a quick intro to it. It's really best if you're targeting enterprise clients. rather than, small businesses. Account-based marketing is actually the best way to land the big accounts or the big whales, the big companies. So what is account-based marketing, or for short, we call it ABM? The best way I like to describe it is, well, you basically flip the traditional marketing funnel. So the way most people do marketing or lead generation is they'll put up content like, a white paper or a webinar or something, and they'll attract a huge number of leads, and they kind of just hope some of those, engage with that content. And then whoever engages, we then, try and nurture them to become clients. In most cases, what you'll find is that a lot of those that engage are not actually qualified. So you've actually wasted all of that, advertising and marketing budget and resources on the wrong type of leads. With account-based marketing, the first step, flip the funnel, you identify the exact accounts that you want to be targeting. So they're already qualified. And then you go through tactics to help you engage with them, create personalized content. You know exactly what content you need to create because you've identified them and you've researched them. And then really majority of the time is spent building that relationship with them, and then they become your client. And I've just added one of my favorite quotes on the topic there. It's, don't count the companies you reach the companies that count. I think way more important to scaling and landing some dream clients. If that's not a big enough benefit to do ABM, and of course, do it with social selling as the backbone of it, here's some other benefits of ABM. So it reduces advertising spend because you're not targeting, a massive audience size. You're targeting really specific accounts. It reduces resource waste because you're not creating all this generic content in the hope that somebody likes it. You're actually producing content that's hyper-personalized that they're going to like. Sales and marketing alignment, isn't that a dream when sales and marketing get along? They don't always, but with ABM, it really does help them get along because they have to work together to identify these accounts and then create content around that. What I've also found, I said earlier, shorter sales cycles. So it really brings down that sales cycle. You're not waiting 12 months. In a lot of our ABM campaigns, we've actually landed clients within 3 months. So it definitely reduces the sales cycle. And it also gets to larger deals as well, because if they see you as a thought leader and, you're creating really specific content for them, they're more likely to trust you and want to work with you. So why does social selling accelerate your account-based marketing? I'll just give you the traditional way that people do ABM. So when people do ABM, yes, they go through the methods of identifying the accounts that they want to work with, and, they create content. However, they still do it through the company, through the brand or the company page, as an example. Or if they send them an email, they'll do it through like a generic email. To which I say, well, no, you actually need to, use a person, a human being, because you need to build that relationship. So just some stats to kind of back that up. 15% of people trust brand messages. That's a very small percentage, whereas 90% of people will trust the opinion of someone they know. And if they have made the time to know them through social selling, then they're more likely to trust them. So I think when you combine ABM and social selling, it's a match made in heaven. And think of ABM as a strategy and social selling as a method. So together they work brilliantly. This is our last slide, actually. I just wanted to show you, it's really quick way of measuring your social selling performance. So I hope I've inspired you enough to go ahead and start doing this for yourselves. Whether it be through the founder of the business or the startup, or if you have salespeople on board, definitely use their profiles. They're like your evangelists. They're spreading the good words of the startup or the company. So definitely use that whole team if you can to do social selling. But how do you measure it? LinkedIn themselves has something called a social selling index, which you can, if you just Googled it, you'd be able to get yours. This is my personal result that I received. So you can see here, there's 4 components that make up the score. First one is establish your professional brand, find the right people, super important, engage with insights, and then build relationships. So you can see I've been really good at building relationships, maybe even establishing my professional brand, but I'm not doing too well on engaging with insights. So over the holidays, I probably wasn't on LinkedIn, much, and I didn't kind of engage, comment, or like with some of the content that my clients were putting up. So that's something I need to work on. So reviewing this gives you really good data on where you're lacking and where you need to improve. So obviously having, these scores quite big is what's going to get you, to your clients a lot quicker. So that's a really important one to measure. Personally, I would also measure views on posts. Once again, I don't think likes, comments, and shares are that important. I think the views are more important, especially if you've connected with the right people. They're going to be viewing that post. So that's what you want. You want to be connected with the right people, and you want to make sure they're viewing what you put up. Engagement on posts, but from your ideal clients, is a good one. It's not necessary. Like I said, most of my clients, they said that they saw my posts and my content, but they hardly ever liked it or commented on it. So I wouldn't say that's probably least important. Conversations in pipelines. So I know, a lot of people, when they measure sales, they have a sales pipeline. So, who are the leads that we have? What stage in the pipeline are they? I actually think you can add a column to that called conversations in pipeline, which is super important. So track the LinkedIn or social conversations you're having with some of these people at the very early parts of the pipeline, and make sure that you're nurturing those and measuring them and improving it as more conversations. And then, of course, how many customers have you received from social selling over a 6 to 12 month period? That's something to keep track of as well. That brings me to the end of this presentation. I hope it's been insightful for you. I hope I've given you some, tools that you can go ahead and use. I'll just end on this slide here, which is my personal details. So if you do want to email me, joanna1n@heartmedia.com.au. That's our website. But look, the best place you can reach me is definitely on LinkedIn. So if you want to say hello or connect, or even just get a free copy of my book, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to, to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. That was really insightful, and we learned a lot of things regarding social selling and all. So, hi, all the startups. Now the floor is open for question. So you can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions to Joanna. We will extend this call for maybe more 15 to 20 minutes. So requesting everyone to utilize this time. Feel free to unmute yourself, or else you can post your questions in the chat.
Hi, John. This is Pejawar from Zecomi.
Hello.
Very good insight. A very good insight. Yes. Hello. Happy New Year to you.
Happy
Very
New
good
Year.
insight. Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
good insight. And you brought a perspective of for B2B, what is the best, like in terms of a lot of social media or channels are available. I feel what you talked about, like Twitter or Facebook, but more professional, I understand LinkedIn, because that's where the conversation thread which converts into actual leads as well. So just to cross check, is that, if we as a company want to work out, is it LinkedIn is going to give sales support, or can we integrate their marketing tool into a CRM what we are using? Because we also have a CRM which comes like all the Salesforce or Zoho, everyone has their own CRMs where you can do the leads. And you are right, absolutely. Cold calling and all that is the past, or it can work for tracking for a BPO or a telecom, subscribers, consumer. But on B2B, I think the contacts works very better, which is LinkedIn has the profiles. So do we get any way how we can integrate LinkedIn? Because we don't know, we know that LinkedIn premium things can use for sales. So what is your way if we want to start? How are we going to start with? Is this LinkedIn we have to connect? How we can integrate? What is the plan? What is the thought process?
Sure, sure. You mentioned LinkedIn Premium. I actually think for a very similar cost, you can get LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and it actually opens up a whole lot of features that you can use. So definitely explore that as a first step, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. That instantly allows you to research accounts, people. It gives you access to your social selling index. So definitely do explore those. If you do have any questions on Navigator, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to give you a tour of it as well.
Yeah.
You did mention CRM, so I know for a fact that HubSpot integrates with LinkedIn quite well. We're actually a HubSpot starter, and we offer kind of integration because it does integrate with a lot of the social media tools as well as the ads. But also if you use Salesforce, if you use Dynamics, whatever CRM you use, I believe you can use a platform such as Zapier to actually bring in information from LinkedIn into your CRM portal. Also, a lot of the times when you do post on LinkedIn, what I recommend is, especially if you're posting thought leadership content, such as, download our latest guide or sign up to our next webinar or, something along those lines, what you'd want to do is drive them to a landing page where you can capture their contact details. So such as first name, email, maybe company name, maybe job title. I wouldn't ask for more than 4 or 5. And that way they instantly go into your CRM for nurturing.
That's great. Thanks very much for that, because we are also looking for a Microsoft support as well. So we can see what product can be integrated to LinkedIn, then we can take it from there. Yeah.
I believe Microsoft Dynamics is a really good marketing automation tool that you can use. You can build out lots of cool email templates, workflows, everything, and you could possibly just use a form to embed on a landing page to capture all your LinkedIn leads with, so they end up in your CRM.
That's great. Zona, you answered my question, so thanks for that. And if there is any requirement, certainly I will connect with you. Maybe a lot of collaboration we can do as well. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Glad to help.
Yeah.
I've just also noticed a question from Nick, and for any additional info, highly recommend you check out my website, Hat Media. There's a little button that you can click on that takes you to a resource page where there's all of the guides and ebooks around, say, account-based marketing, around inbound marketing, marketing automation. There's also quite a bit of webinars there that you can access for more information, and they will help a nonprofit as well. I might just put the link in there now if that's okay, actually, just in case it's more people wanted access to that. There's a few resources. Here we go. Question there about sending the event recording. I do believe that is planned. Yeah.
Yeah, John, I'll just take that up. So for the recordings will be uploaded in the Microsoft Startups YouTube channel. You can expect the video recording within 4 to 5 days in the YouTube channel. So, Joanna, in fact, I was using LinkedIn very frequently when I was in the previous job and all. So I just want to understand what all are the, the plugin tools which you can use in LinkedIn to for the lead gen activities. So if you have, could you please help me with a couple of tools,
Yeah,
which can be free tools, which can be helpful for the startups as well?
absolutely. So within Sales Navigator, there's a few tools you can use. You can go and search for specific accounts, not just contacts. And then obviously using that method I just showed you, find the decision makers of those accounts. What you can also see in the LinkedIn Sales Navigator dashboard is news about those specific people or accounts. So rather than using Google Alerts and also BuzzSumo, you can actually use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to learn more about these companies. Why are they in the news? I mean, in a lot of cases, they're in the news for good reasons, like, oh, these people have just gotten funding or extra profits. Therefore, hey, they'd be a great customer to have. Or maybe, one of the accounts that you've been nurturing is in the news for a bad reason. You then know, okay, this probably won't make an ideal client at this stage of the buyer cycle. There's also tools that you can link with LinkedIn. So as an example, you obviously probably don't have that much spare time in your day and you want to automate some of the connection requests and messages that you send out. There's a tool that's called Dripify, and connect with me. I'll send you the link to sign up to it and test it out on a free trial, because it lets you create a marketing funnel around how you're going to connect with this person and how you're going to build the relationship. And you basically spend maybe 1 or 2 hours at the start of your week doing that. And then it drips. That's why it's called Dripify. It drips that whole relationship building process. It automates it throughout the week. That way, you're not having to constantly think about it every single day. You just plan it in advance. And it just lets you get a lot more done quicker because there's that automation capability. So reach out to me if you want the link to that so you can have a free trial of it.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah.
There's one question from Nick Metexa. He was asking for strategies for non-profit organizations.
Yeah, so that one I believe was answered. So there'd be more resources if you just follow that link there, and majority of the content there is specific to B2B. It's not that much industry related, and I do believe nonprofits will benefit from it as well. Just some other tools for nonprofits specifically. I know, depending on your industry and who your clients are, I know Google, as an example, Google AdWords does actually give you access to funds to run as a nonprofit. So you might want to explore that as well, because then you have free advertising dollars to work with to get attention and visibility.
Thank you so much.
I think we don't have any questions from our audience.
Excuse me, Johanna, you're talking about this Dripify, right? Will you be able to send us a link on that?
On which one, sorry?
Dripify?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Thanks.
Just give me a moment. I'll access it now. It's a fairly new SaaS, And unlike a lot of the ones that already exist that kind of let you, automate your connections, this one gives you access to a funnel, which is probably more important because you do want to be able to, automate a few little actions. So it's not just about connecting. This Dripify also allows you to automate the liking of their posts as well. So it kind of automates your, a lot of that relationship building.
Yeah, Joanna, maybe we can wait for 5 more minutes. If there is no further questions, we can wrap it up.
Happy to wait. I'm actually just looking for that Dripify link, so I'll wait. I'll look for that, and if anyone has any other questions, feel free to send them my way. I've just found it. Putting it in the chat right now. If anybody is interested, sign up through that. You get a free, I think it's a 7-day trial. So just try and build it out quickly and start to see some results from it. And if you're happy with it, then obviously, a good tool to have to automate a lot of what I just took you through.
Joanna, we have a questions from Ilainthiran. He want to know about use of participation of AI to connect with audiences and enterprises.
I'm just reading the questions. So okay, so AI to connect to audiences. So Dripify is definitely a good AI to use to connect to your audience and also engage with them. But in terms of content, chatbots, chatbots are really only effective if they land on your website for whatever reason, and they don't want to speak to a person. They have a very basic question. It's not really that much to do with social selling. I think, in terms of content creation and using AI to help you with that, probably best to use some of those platforms I mentioned in the presentation.
Okay. Nick, you can ask the question. You can unmute yourself. Yeah. Joanna, we have a questions from Nick.
Yes, do you mind repeating that? I'm not hearing Nick very well.
No, he posted that question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let me have a look.
Sorry for the bad audio. Is it better now?
Yes, much better. Good question. I'm glad you asked this. I think obviously it's important for the company page to have consistent posting because it just means you're present, trustworthy. It creates, a the fact that the company is running. But I wouldn't use the company for, acquiring, donations or members or leads or clients. I would actually use your personal profile and really you positioning yourself as standing for, what the company's about. I think will have a much bigger effect than the actual company. So definitely use your profile.
Thank you so much. I was thinking along the same lines. My problem is that I would like to have help from my volunteers to get into the networking. Currently, I'm doing all the work on my own. It's kind of difficult. So I saw now that I can assign admins to my LinkedIn company page. And so I can have volunteers positioning themselves or connecting and communicating in LinkedIn as the company page. That would help me, of course, a lot. And obviously, I don't want to give anyone my personal LinkedIn page. So therefore, my question was, is it possible to communicate with the foundation page, or is it not so great? But I can see what you are going to. Is the personal connection will always be better through the person, of course.
100%. And just to get around that little one, because I have had clients that, obviously they don't feel comfortable giving us their LinkedIn login details. However, they do feel comfortable especially if we put a content calendar together for them 1 month in advance that they have approved. There's social tools out there that can connect your LinkedIn profile to that tool. Some examples are Publer, which is an affordable one. But you also have Hootsuite and basically social media scheduling tools. So if you don't have that much time in your day, I mean, what startup founder does? But you can use people to post on your behalf using that tool without them actually having access to your profile. So the only thing they're able to do is post content, which you would want to, have a look at and approve in advance. So that's possibly one way around that.
Wow, that's an awesome information. That's really great. When it comes to content posting, that could really help a lot. So I could still post with my personal account instead of the company account, but it could be done by volunteers using those additional tools. That's fantastic. What about the you had one of your strategies I was really very, very impressed by. Instead of trying to really approach people and already run into their doors with whatever you have to present, instead of that you suggest that we are really looking for comments and looking for threads and try to present ourselves by just having a intelligent conversation with people among all that topics. I really like that a lot, but that again would not be possible if I don't give them my LinkedIn account, right? Would a company account who is communicating there be an option, or would you think that would throw people off?
I think the issue with the company is you can't actually use the company to go and connect with people. So the way we normally do it for clients is we use the founder or the salesperson. We connect with lots of people, and then we ask those people to follow the company page so that they're now getting double the content. They're getting content from the company page, and they're also getting content from the person. But in terms of relationship building, yeah, unfortunately, it absolutely must be done through your profile. But even if you have 1 hour in your week, I highly recommend using the Dripify tool, because that will save you quite a lot of time connecting with people.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you so much. That's so valuable for us.
My pleasure. I hope that helps.
Joanna, I don't think we have any questions. So I think we can wrap up the session. Thank you so much for taking time and explaining about the social selling in 2022 to us. And we can see that all the startups are happy, and the session was very valuable for them. And we have started getting responses through our internal WhatsApp group as well. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for session. Looking forward to your support and help.
Can I
towards
just
the
second
steps.
that as well, Sujesh? That thank you so much for an amazing, super interactive session, Joe. So much gold dust in there, and I've been already requested for the recordings, so people want to hear it again and share it. It's already viral. Practice what you preach. And team, everybody in the audience, our details are there. So if there's anything that you think of after this, or if you want to know more about the Highway program or the Microsoft for Startups program, please ask us as well. But I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for the session.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure anytime. I always enjoy myself on these things. So yeah, thank you, everybody.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. See you later. We'll wrap. Bye.
Bye.